Welcome back to the second half. I guess it must mean that since most people have come back, regardlessly, you must have come back with some music or something. So we'll be doing some more music in a minute. Good to see you back again for part two. If you're following this history through, we're now up to the 1990s, which saw organisations like Stonewall, which was set up in 1989, calling not only for the repeal of Section 28, but greater equality for gay, lesbian, bisexual and transgender people in all aspects of the law. Lesbians became more visible thanks in part to Lesbian Avengers, which was set up in the UK in 1994. They were protesting particularly against Clause 28, and some of them have been some of the women who had chained themselves to television cameras in the 1980s while Sue Lawley was reading the 6 o'clock news. Some people might remember that. I watched the YouTube clip the other day, well worth watching, and she carries on as if she's doing it for Queen and Empire, and just turns to the camera and says, "We have rather been invaded by some people." Nasty people, I think she meant. And in the meantime, Nicholas Witchell was sitting on one of the lesbians until the police arrived. And that was the buzz of school playgrounds for weeks to come, which was good. The age of consent was lowered to 18, which was an improvement, although still not complete equality. And this was also the decade in which up to 200,000 people would go to Gay Pride in London each year. Gay Times was selling tens of thousands of copies in mainstream shops in the high street. And Gay Time TV appeared on BBC Two with 1 million viewers each week. Some people said that once the lesbians had got in on the 6 o'clock news, lesbians and gays never actually left the BBC again. And internationally in the 1990s, I was personally delighted that after over 30 years of suffering from the mental illness which the World Health Organization called homosexuality, I was finally cured. In 1990, they said it suddenly wasn't an illness after all. And happily, at the end of the 1990s, Jan Morris, very famous, very prolific and well-published author, who was a trans woman, was recognised in the Queen's birthday honours with a CBE. She was born in Clevedon, so she's actually a local woman, although not a Welsh nationalist as well. So, this decade gave some confidence and voice back to people. But the 90s were also a time of transition and musical change.
We've chosen some lyrically beautiful ballads to celebrate the 1990s, many of which become almost timeless. One of the songs we've chosen to sing in this section was actually first published in 1868, but we've taken artistic licence with the fact it was popularised in 1992 by the beautiful Terence Davies film of the same name. The Long Day Closures is a song that remains close to the heart of many Sing Out Bristol members, as we were asked to record it when it was used in another movie film locally called Release. We will then round off this section with 2 ensemble songs. The first with our male voices performing the moving Eric Clapton song, Tears in Heaven, and then a small ensemble finishing in the 90s with a 4-part a cappella version of Sarah McLachlan's Angel. But first, a Bob Dylan composition that's been covered by Billy Joel and Adele, with a very special introduction, and you'll know what we mean given the weather we just had.